Hi, my name's Simon Barron. I'm a former Royal Marine and I'm working with Jeff Williams at Veterans United Against Suicide. A big part of this is because I've been in that place before, and on the back end of Gary Curtis very kindly sharing his story that was on BFBS radio. We were chatting with Jeff, and we all agreed it'd be a good idea for other people to share their stories as well. Basically to show people that there is hope. It's not the last resort. There are things you can do, and there are so many of us out there who understand where you're at, and that you have help, more help than you can possibly shake a stick at. There are loads of us out here who understand and can help. So in a nutshell, 20 years ago I was on the verge of leaving the Royal Marines. I was being medically discharged, and in the process of losing the job that I loved, my marriage had gone down the toilet and I was losing my house. So I had a lot going on. I had a bit of a meltdown, a lot of a meltdown, and I came home from work with a pistol, and I phoned people and said my goodbyes. Plus the fact I had a friend of mine as well who'd attempted suicide and was in a bit of a shit state himself at the time. And I'd phoned, said my goodbyes to people, not saying goodbye directly, but in my own way. And I sat at home on my couch with a cup of tea, 2 chocolate digestives, my favourite biscuits, and the pistol in my lap. And while I was enjoying my cup of tea and biscuits, I was about to finish the last bit of tea. The doorbell rang, and it was a friend of mine who'd driven over to, because he'd obviously got the gist that I'd already told him before I was in a bit of a shit state. He knew everything was going on. So he came around, and that interrupted the flow of my thoughts, and I didn't follow through on it. I had to put I hid the pistol under the sofa cushion and let him in the door, and that was it. That was enough of a distraction, and it took me a long time to get my head around things after that, especially with leaving the military and then finding a new house and relocating again. So that was hard. I worked on the circuit when I left. I worked on some intelligence jobs, and I didn't do myself any favours really. I kept myself doing things that kept messing my head up. There was a huge part of what was going wrong with me was a complete loss of identity. I didn't know who I was, didn't know who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be, and that really screwed with my head. And I had a couple of more meltdowns. So the first one was about 98. Then I think it would have been about 2003, 2004. I kind of lost the plot again then. Didn't go to the point of setting up to commit suicide, but I did think about it a lot, and I was on the verge of really beginning to plan it. Some of the jobs I've been on as well, I got kidnapped 3 times, twice in Nigeria, once in Sweden, looking after an individual over there who it was Russian mafia connections that where it all went horribly wrong, and that was a very close call. And the build up from that, and losing having a business fail, and losing potential millions in the process, just really messed with my head. And there was a steady decline. Looking back on it now, 2 years ago I had another kind of lost the plot with depression, very strong suicidal thoughts, and to the point I couldn't get my mind off it. That was all I wanted to do. And if it wasn't for the fact that I have 2 kids and, quite frankly, a fucking phenomenal wife, I wouldn't be here today, without a shadow of a doubt. I can hand on heart say that. And it was mostly because I opened up to my wife and I spoke to her about how I was feeling, and No matter how messed up and how much of an asshole I was at that point in time, she stuck by me, and she got me through it, as well as the kids. So what I want you to know is that there is hope. It's not the last resort. There are people you can turn to. People like us at Veterans United Against Suicide. That's what we're doing, raising awareness that it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to go down that path. And if you're thinking about that, please get in touch. Get in touch with any of the organisations out there. There are a few out there that are worthwhile getting in touch with. There's Icarus Online. There's Rock to Recovery, and there are. I mean, but those two in particular, I think, are the best ones to go for, because they can help you. They're tri-service, so don't worry about any have any preconceived ideas about it. It's just being for one service. So please, if you are feeling like that, or you know someone who is, get in touch with us, and we can steer you in the right direction. And come to the event on the 2nd of June. We'd love to see you, love to chat to you, and help you in any way we can. So, in the meantime, take care. Thanks very much.